Yeah, I got you cold open. This is time for Heel Day to come out. Heel Day is here. If you don't watch wrestling, a heel is someone that's usually a villain. Heel Day is here. And first things first, for the man that criticizes us about our intro every single time, I'm going to force him to do it. Today, folks, we have a guest in our hands. ProAceJOKER. You do the intro.
Alrighty, hello, and welcome to Ramblations. I'm your host, Daya Singh, and with me as always, Emilio. And we have one of the sexiest men I've ever met. I'd like to take a bite of him myself. Our very own ProAceJOKER, name of Jonathan Carroll. Why don't you introduce yourself, buddy?
Damn, alright, you know what?
The Joker himself.
Fair enough. Yeah, we got the man.
Mark Hamill, he's after your ass.
Well, yeah, if I'm gonna, if we're gonna do an intro, I gotta be you if I'm doing your intro, so.
No, totally. And on top of that, Amelia, you hear that? This is the man. He's the man that's always like, our intro sucks. Now we have a model, so we're gonna pursue it from now on.
All right. You gotta show it. You gotta perform. And I think that was a pretty good performance.
I already messed up myself. I guess, what's this podcast about? I don't know. You guys tell me what's about.
Oh,
pretty much,
beautiful.
It's in the title.
Beautiful.
It's we ramble on and we talking about whatever's kind of on our mind for the week, and giving just some perspective, some insight into the game industry, and just some, life in general.
It sounds like you've listened to us once or twice before.
Yo, I'm telling you honestly, my nephews are fan number 1 and 2, so number 3 has to be John.
You guys are doing a great work. As I said, I've been doing content creating for 8 years now, and you guys just stepping into this over the last. I mean, you've been doing for a few months now, but even just a short amount of time with a few amount of episodes you guys are doing a great job. So
thank you, John.
I'm curious, John. So I got 2 questions for you right off the bat before we get into it.
Hold up.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we explain who the fuck John is?
That's what I was about to get into. I got 2 questions though.
People are curious at this point.
Yeah, I got question number 1. This one always trips me up, and I think I've actually asked you this in person a few times, but I need a verification right now, right here, so I can do it for the rest of the episode. Do you ever care if I don't call you? Because a lot of people call you by your gamer tag, which is ProAceJOKER, because that's what you usually do when you're streaming on Twitch.
A lot of people use just Joker. It's
your wrestling name. Your luchador.
Yeah. Do you have a preference? Because I no matter where the context, even if you're streaming and I'm there with you, or like here now, I usually just call you John. So I was always curious about that. If you have a preference.
No, not at all. It honestly completely depends. At this point I answer to the same Joker and John or Jonathan or any variation of, as much as I answer to the gamer tag. And again, it really just kind of depends on who's who for it.
Gotcha.
I have some people at like 343 and stuff who use my name, and then I have some content creator friends who use my name. But then, a lot of other people use gamer tag and stuff. It's the same all across the board. I'll be honest, it's just a second name at this point. I don't even think about it. So,
like in public, like people in public will call you Joker.
Yeah, no. If we're at the few times we've hung out at PAX together, like me and John will have dinner, or like we'll just do a thing together or something. People, like even close friends, even like I guess coworkers technically from Twitch and stuff, right? Coworker being the right. I'm doing air quotes for listeners at home that can't see, but like.
So you guys are probably curious of the man, what caliber of man we're talking about. If his name, his persona, people recognize him on the street to call him by that.
That was question number 2. Like Amelia was getting into. Question number 2 is you said you got 8 years of content behind you, and we've talked about some, like me. I've talked to Amelia personally about some of your achievements. So I'm curious on like if you can just give us a quick like synopsis for those 8 years. What are the highlights and lowlights?
I don't even know if it's been 8 years. I've totally lost track. So I started doing Twitch content about 8 years ago. 8 years of Twitch live streaming, gaming live streaming. Technically, gotcha. I was actually making content even before that with a buddy of mine. We don't talk about that.
We'll find it one day.
The Lost Joker Day.
We had the Nugget Hat Gaming was our old YouTube channel. so bad and it was so good at the same time. I think I was at the time when we started that like 15, 16 years old or something.
Damn.
And I started streaming when I was about 18, 19. I'm 26 now, and so I started about 8 years on Twitch. I came up with the name. Well, I used just my gamertag ProAceJOKER. I ended up getting Twitch partner about a year into it, doing Halo speedrunning. So that's what I'm specifically known for. I used to have world records in Halo 4 specifically, but I speedrun all of the Halo games on legendary difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty, and I just beat. If you don't know what speedrunning is, I just play a video game through the campaign or the story mode, and I play through it really, really fast. So, for instance, I just beat all of the Halos, which would be Halo Reach, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 3, Halo 4, and Halo 5, all in about 14 hours on Legendary. Just
a man of class. Of course, you went through it chronological order.
Of course.
I think you've told this story to me before, but I'm curious. Isn't the achievement in one of the games named after your gamer tag? Am I correct in this?
Yeah. So there's an achievement in Halo: The Master Chief Collection, which is they rebuilt or just re-released all of the Halo games into one game. And put it for the new generation of console, which was at the time was just the Xbox One, but also on PC now, so you can get it on Steam. And in it, there's an achievement called "You're Joking," which is to beat Halo 4 on Legendary in under 3 hours.
Was that like a nod to your world record? Was that the game that you had the world record in?
Yeah, so they named all the achievements after world record people. I always love people talking about it. They're like, yeah, I made a tutorial guide for it. I was like, if the achievement's named after me, I should make a guide or something for it. Everyone in that was like, the phrase "you're joking" existed before you. I was like, yeah, that's true.
You cocky
but the
bastard.
Halo 1 achievement and stuff like that is named like, the Halo 1 I think is the best. It's named Goat Roped, which, what does that even mean? Except at the time, there was a speedrunner named Goat Rope. It might just be a coincidence. But, we're gonna, who knows, right? Who knows? We don't know for sure. They never actually talked to us about it or anything like that. It was just kind of there. So.
Oh. Well, there you go, folks. Now, I hope that kind of captures, like Emilio said, the caliber of individual we've nabbed ourselves
the essence of what is Joker. The ProAceJOKER. The myth, the legend.
Now that we got our goofy cast of characters down, we all know who we are, but just in case you don't, I think John kind of gave me an intro, but my name is Daya. I'm a programmer in the game industry. I keep saying gameplay because that's what I do. I like doing gameplay.
It's okay.
I'm a
you
game
can specify.
Programmer.
You could specify your specialty, Daya.
It's not, but I don't want to box myself. Anyways, what about you, Emilio?
He's a man of many talents. My name is Emilio Pujadas. My friends call me Emu. I'm a producer in the video games industry, and half of Ramblations.
Yeah. But yeah, we got our cast of characters. Everyone's introduced ourselves. So, let's loop ourselves back into Freakness of the Week. Because that's the name we're using from now on. Because that's what we came up with last episode.
Last episode, that was it. It was just like, oh, what's the Freakness? And here we are.
Dude, I got a funny one, actually. I got a really funny one. And this popped up on my Twitter feed. And I'll probably repost it on the Ramblations page as soon as this episode goes up. And I actually bookmarked the tweet and everything. Because this kind of builds on top of a story we had last week. Last week we talked about how our station had a snafu trying to do the whole NFT thing, right? They were trying to make it so people uploaded their art and you can, attach an NFT to it. So they have that certification of ownership for that thing. And that, a novel idea and whatnot. And we've discussed some of the issues with NFTs, but it gets even more crazy.
Oh,
so
man. Here we go.
Apparently, one of the groups that were doing the NFTs are when they make you the fungible token for it, where it actually directs to what the thing that's actually being hashed that shows your ownership isn't actually the image itself or the video or whatever it's actually being, what you think you're actually owning. It is turned out in some cases it is literally just a link to that thing, so you don't even actually own.
You just own the official link.
Yeah, you own a hyperlink that directs you to the thing after you can redeem it, essentially, or like look it up to find, to say that this is the thing, this is the place where I'm going for the thing that I own. So,
but you own it.
I'm telling you, folks.
Do you have ownership enough to be able to say like, all right, look, I own the hyperlink. Look, check it out. It directs to this. Can I take it down at any point? Can I put it wherever I want?
I don't know. That's so, Amelia, you're asking what I think, and I talked to a friend about this earlier today because I was pointing it out to him because he asked me about NFTs and I was like, "Yo, this just popped up on my radar, or whatever." And like, bro, I gotta tell you, like, it's a shaky business. Like, we know, everyone knows it's a shaky business. There's the prospect of it being a bubble, whatever, right? But like this, I was like, this is literally burning money at some point. Like, there's just too many issues. There's too many obstacles between you and the item to like have that type of relationship with it, and what you're buying is like kind of like just a link and not really. So it's yeah. What were you gonna say, John?
We can go into NFTs a whole lot because they're such a complicated model that I think people have a really hard time. I think the hardest thing about it is just conceptualizing it. Right? Like, the idea of having almost a physical item in a digital world is just strange, and it's hard to see as a concept, I think, for most people to understand.
Well, what I was trying to tell this other person was I think that in some aspects it's still poorly implemented. Like, I think the technology, like, I think there's a lot of people that are... They realize that the term is trending, and we'll probably talk about trending a lot, especially knowing you, John. I think when we get into this, the term trending is gonna come up a lot. But like, I think it was a term that was trending, and I think a lot of people like jumped onto it, made their own quick slapdash implementations of it. And I think what we're gonna see is a lot of holes that are gonna be burned. For example, that you guys heard about I think is his name Beeple or Meeple, the dude that made the really like some of the more expensive art that's gone up for NFTs.
Haven't heard of it.
I think the artist is called Beeple. I'm not 100% sure. It's one of those two, Beeple or Meeple. But his artwork, for example, like someone had checked out like, oh yeah, this is the link to go to the NFT. What's the NFT actually storing? It just stores a JSON, which is a data format, right? Like we use in games all the time to store assets and stuff. But it's just a JSON file that directs you to another hyperlink that is actually going to the actual image. So that's the things that's being NFT'd.
And it's tied to crypto, right? It's tied to Ethereum.
Well, that's the blockchain part of it, right? There's like the whole... There's a lot going on, right? I don't want to go too much into detail, but I just thought that story was really fucking funny. Because I'm like, in essence, there could be that someone just bought a $60 million hyperlink to something.
Honestly, I think...
People have spent money on stupider shit. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's just... To get into what I think... I think, honestly, the thing that's going to do one of the most successful businesses is trading cards in NFTs. It's just these basketball trading cards and stuff like that. I straight up think they're one of the few ones that are actually going to be successful and continue to be successful. Because I think there's just something to it.
I think that's more acceptable than like what ArtStation was doing because there's a limited supply still, right? Like the energy to generate an NFT for an actual single production card is so much cheaper, probably. Again, we don't know, right? I don't want to say the details for sure, but it's definitely probably a lot cheaper than most things. But yeah, Amelia, I think you had her saying something.
That's funny too, though, because like literally we just saw a similar concept go out as far as like tangible digital cards that like had actual real money weight to it, which was artifacts, right? Like the Valve virtual trading card game, and that shit failed horribly. But maybe it was just because it didn't have a fancy name like NFT on it, and like I didn't have the blockchain portion of it. It was just worth cash, you know? Maybe.
And there's that case, like that isolated case of Valve messing around with that system was even like doubly more interesting because like if they failed at doing it, and this is the same company that hired an economist to balance the TF2 economy.
He was the Greek economist, by the way. He was the economist for the nation of Greece.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the economist for the nation of... He was the head of their economy, bro. And
Jesus.
I mean, yes, it's a country, but he also was there when that shit was fucking crashing. Like,
yeah, it's been... Dude, Greece had a rough time in 2008, like back then. It was bad.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Anyways, that was my freakness of the week that I held near and dear to my heart. There's a few other things I could talk about, but that was the one that I thought was funniest, at least.
It is fun. I got a big one.
All right.
Well, potentially a big one. Sony Interactive Entertainment has bought Evo.
Yeah, yes, I saw that. Yeah. I saw that.
Evo is, I think, the world's largest, right? The world's largest fighting game.
It's the Super Bowl fighting games. It's the Super Bowl fighting games.
Yeah. Like, if you are a professional fighting game player, the epitome of that is winning Evo in the game of whatever game that you're a professional in. And
me and Daya used to watch Smash all the time. Smash Bros matches.
Yeah.
I watch
I
Evo. I try to watch Evo yearly if
Yeah.
I can.
Hell
I can manage it, I will try to watch it yearly. But yeah, we watch, and I think that's actually where I got my start for a lot of getting into fighting games was through Smash back then.
At the very least, the grand finals, even if I'm not that interested in the game, you'll at least watch the grand finals. It's dude, that's the highest form of gameplay that you're gonna see of that game for the year, right? So.
And in the broader narrative of esports, especially when it comes to fighting games, you see a lot of good stories usually play out there, right? Like a few years ago, there was a story of there was Punk, one of the best North American Street Fighter players ever, had climbed all the way to the top and then lost to Takedo, who was just been a demon for this player for a long time, right? So there was that story, and then we had a redemption arc for that a little while ago. We've seen the I can't even start to explain what Melee and Evo and tournament relationship, that's a whole, you could read literal pages and pages and watch documentary about that. I literally know 6-7 hours of video content you could watch that could easily get you up to speed at that. So there's that.
Was it moment 30? Was it 37?
Moment 37, yeah.
Yeah.
OG
Justin Wong.
The OG moment when Evo got big for the first time because people were actually there. It was just a recorded moment that just got big, but yeah.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube. That's a beautiful moment. If you want to see what the hype about video fighting games are, it's a great moment to watch.
I'm curious, John. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Emilio, but
you're good.
You've done some hosting stuff at places what was it last time? Was DreamHack Austin, right?
DreamHack in Anaheim, California.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of curious on how what do you think about this? Because a lot of people were talking about I've heard a lot of talk about how if Sony's in charge, is it just going to be a vehicle for the PlayStation or something? I'm curious on where you think this might be going.
It really depends. I have my opinions about how Sony runs a lot of their stuff, especially in the gaming world. Is they tend to stick some. I don't want to be too opinionated on it, but more of the sense is...
Well, that's how you got here. Yeah,
all opinions are your own. By all means, be opinionated.
They tend to stick some elitism kind of traits onto a lot of things they work on into the gaming industry. I mean, we've seen it with PlayStation when they're they were so hesitant for so long to even do crossplay and stuff like that because they're straight up the CEO just said our players are too good to play with the other consoles.
I didn't know that.
You can't. So that kind of stuff goes on. So it really depends on how they're gonna. It depends on how they're going to change the tournament. If they're more hands off on it, I don't see much changing with it. Other than Evo would be a great place to make game announcements, promote Sony stuff in general. I was gonna say I did see the news about Nintendo because with Sony buying up Evo, there's a lot of question of Smash Bros being at Evo and stuff like that still because it's a Nintendo game.
That's a first party game for Nintendo.
They put it on Twitter. They were kind of the way that it was phrased. I can't remember the exact wording, but it kind of just said we're still looking at our avenues to do fighting games because we love the camaraderie and the blah. Pretty much they were just there's a good chance they're not going to be at Evo anymore, so we might not get Smash Bros and stuff at Evo. So we're already seeing some things kind of potentially being changed and dropped out of it, which would be a huge hit to the event. I would be honest. Smash Bros is one of the most watched games there. Easily. It's not the most, but it's one of the most. So
yep.
It's a lot of people they're dropping. So if Sony plays nice, hopefully they can convince Nintendo to hop aboard. And it's kind of too early for me to say what I think Sony is going to do with it. So
super fair.
Yeah,
I think there's another interesting aspect of it too, where if you look at the fighting game genre as a whole, the usual console of choice is usually PlayStation. That's just been for a while,
right?
And then that's when, like you said, when the console exclusive stuff comes out, it gets kind of weird because you have Smash, like you mentioned, for Nintendo. But on the other hand, and something I think me and Amelia both would love for this to come back someday is Killer Instinct is technically a Microsoft property.
For sure.
So I would love to see a Killer Instinct 2 someday in the future, and it would really jeopardize the aspect of what would that mean at a tournament. It is weird. It's really weird.
That being said, too, like if we think of what, pre Sony, buying the property, like where was Evo at? Like just last year, COVID pushed it off, and then right after that, for the virtual event that they were gonna have, the head of Evo like basically got kicked out of the company for sexual harassment charges. So it's like, I don't know. The state of Evo was probably really rocky. They were probably looking out for sponsors and being like, yo, like, who can help us? This is a historic event. I don't know. There's at least money in it now. You know what I mean? At least I think we can confidently say that with such a big company going in there, it's still going to be a spectacle. It's still going to be something that, at least for the games that are present, it's going to be a big event, right? With reveals, with, the whole thing that you still expect from Evo.
Yeah. Also, commenting on the whole reveal thing, like, in recent memory, Nintendo never did this, which is like, I mean, their Smash character announcements have, again, eclipsed into a whole thing than what they were, like, a few years ago. But for most of the normal generic, like, that's a weird word to say, but like for most fighting games like Tekken or Street Fighter or Soul Calibur or Samurai Showdown, whatever, all those, like Guilty Gear, a lot of them do their announcements. Like, that's what they've been doing. That's what the trend has been for the last couple of years, right? Guilty Gear Strive got announced, I think, 2 years ago at EVO. They showed off the first character trailer. Obviously, like, anytime there's a new season pass for fighting games or there's a new character coming out, you're likely to get a first taste of it at EVO and stuff like that. So in terms of just being a powerhouse gaming event for advertising, it's like, for fighting games at least, it's always like been like, it's starting to have become like that for a while. There's legacy in that now.
Yeah, and it's good. I think the one thing is, it's good to see someone like Sony investing in this, because there's a lot of potential for future of just it's important to esports as an industry. So 100%. It's good to see when one of the biggest game companies out there are investing into these kind of events. So I think overall it's a good thing. So
here's hoping that they see the success and they're like, yo, we should make fighting games.
Or support it, or do something for that genre, because it needs a little. It's gotten a lot better. We just need every bit. I'll squeeze any bit of money out of anyone's hand.
We just need a Smash Bros version of something for Sony, and we need it for Microsoft, and I'll be happy. And they had something similar a while ago, right?
PlayStation
Battles,
Battlestar. That's what it was. And Xbox had one too back in like 2005 or something. I just remember.
All I remember was when they added cool Microsoft exclusive characters that got added to fighting games that I cherish. General Ram and Killer Instinct. He's awesome, very interesting.
Rash,
Crash, Arbiter's in there too. But the true classic, like one of my favorite, like this is like really early on fighting game experience for me. It was like, I think it was Dead or Alive 3 was like originally like an Xbox exclusive. Like the first version of it was like an Xbox exclusive, like for the original Xbox, and you could play as a Spartan. It was a female Spartan, and she had some of the coolest moves in the game. You could like grapple people and stick grenades and throw them across the field and shit. It was amazing. Did you check that out, Emilio? That's a Ramblations recommendation right there, baby. Go check out Spartan. It's like Spartan. I don't even remember her name. It's like Spartan B45 something or other. Go check out a combo video because that shit's dope.
Nice. I could dig it. So yeah, for sure. That's probably like right after Dreamcast failed and Sega was like, "Yo, Xbox, you guys are our guys. We're gonna go here."
It was like 2001 or something. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right,
let's get some
John.
You figure out
that.
I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised when you two didn't hit it, but I got some freak news going.
All right.
Let's just say we got some. I'm a big TV show movie kind of guy.
For
sure. So, we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier tomorrow coming out.
Yep. We're recording on Thursday, so Friday. Yep.
We had the Snyder Cut released.
That's true.
Oh, right.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet. It is a 4-hour ordeal, so I haven't got to do it yet.
Long?
It is actually 4 hours long.
Holy
so
shit,
I'm doing some video editing all day long, so I haven't really had a chance to catch it. Yeah. But from what I've been hearing, I'm curious on if it's just people being excited because it's that rose-colored glasses because they've been waiting so long for it. But everyone is like, it's so good. I wish this was the movie we got originally, all that stuff. But then I've seen other people who are just like, it's so hard to follow, and there's just way too much CG in it. So I'll have to go watch it myself. But yeah, that came out, and that's been something that people have been wanting a long time. But overall, I'm hearing that the reviews are positive, and they're really hoping that Snyder gets a second chance to really build the DC universe, cinematic universe.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen the positive reviews as well.
I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't read anything.
And
yet.
There's like some interesting decisions like that just came out, like the aspect ratio, like that was just
4:3,
like,
4:3, baby.
Yeah,
that's cool. Like, hey man, they're doing something different, and I'm actually kind of surprised that just right now we're figuring that out, right? Like that wasn't something that was before.
I'm not trying to be mean to Snyder, but I wonder if he saw the Lighthouse and he was like, "That I need that."
I was gonna say, dude, Lighthouse. That movie was so amazing, and
that wasn't even like 4:3, right?
Yeah,
it was 4:3.
It was black and white 4:3, and it was.
Yep.
Once I saw it, I was like, they need to do this more often. This what you would think this is old school, but it's not.
Mostly all shot on location.
It's crazy.
As well.
No, I love that movie too. But yeah, man, here's hoping that the Snyder Cut's good. You're gonna need, pack some popcorn, like 3 bags of that shit, because you're gonna need it.
Dude, John, whenever we've gone to the movie theaters in the past, John has a technique for the ProAceJOKER popcorn special.
Oh man,
yeah, no one. Day is one of the few people who can somehow put up with the amount of butter and salt I stick onto the popcorn. We do AMC, which allows you to do it all yourself. So, it's bad. I'm gonna die young and I'm gonna die happy.
There you go.
Because we're on it, I'm kind of curious on like, you talked about all the Marvel stuff coming out, and obviously like, we have Justice League. Which, a personal take, like, I'm so afraid. I didn't watch the original because I grew up watching Teen Titans. I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series and the Superman show and stuff like that. And so like Justice League was a big part of my childhood. So I just avoided that movie like the plague because I was so worried.
I hear you there. I haven't seen Man of Steel. I haven't seen Batman vs Superman. I haven't seen any of those movies for the exact same reason.
I saw Batman vs Superman in theaters, and that was funny. That we had a good time making fun of it. It was a little ridiculous. Man of Steel, I think, gets a little too much flack for what it is. I understand why people don't like it, but I think people give it too much shit for what it actually is. Yeah, that's my hot takes, listener. If you don't agree with me, that's fine.
I did see though, someone was like, "All right, look, man, I know that what Snyder's been doing with Batman vs Superman, the whole deal, it's not the best." But he was like, yo, Ben Affleck, at the very least, he was at least a presence of he embodied the presence that Batman is. He did
the chunky fat Frank Allen Batman.
Yeah,
I liked it. It was a good screen translation of that.
You combined 2 different comic book artist names. That was great. Frank Miller and Alan Moore. The Frank Miller.
You know what I meant.
I got you.
It is Frank Miller, but you got me.
But dude, I saw that scene where he's like hiding in the shadows and shit, and they're coming in, he's like breaking arms, and like, bro, I was like, damn, like that's Batman. That's the dude you're scared of.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the Robert Pattinson Batman. I'm a big fan of him.
So excited. Yeah, I'm so fucking
And after
excited.
that trailer, like him beating that dude, that dude's dead. The dude's dead. Like,
there's also we finally get around 2 on the Riddler, right? Like Jim Carrey was cool. Don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
I hear that was actually one of the. So we're getting totally off topic, but one of the issues that I heard with Batman v Superman was the Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Terrible cast.
Was a weird. Everyone thought it was a weird cast, and I don't think he did too bad of a job. He was just a different Lex Luthor. They should have done the animated, the big old black Lex Luthor from animated. Dude, he was great. That's who they should have used.
If we had like a Wilson Fisk type, but more like businessman and less gangster,
right.
Like I would have been down with that.
Oh, totally down for it. But because what I heard is when Jesse Eisenberg went in to actually cast for Lex Luthor, he thought he was going in for like the Riddler or something like that. Like he thought he was going in for a different role than he realized. And
so
he ended
like,
up
dude, you're good.
We're
just gonna pull you somewhere.
Yeah, so
I like Jesse's work, so I get it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I didn't, it was an interesting take on Lex Luthor. I don't think it was necessarily bad. I think it was just different, and I think he probably would have been better used as honestly a Batman villain or something like that. So
definitely,
yeah, for sure.
No, I'm excited for that. I hope those go well. there's a lot of stops they're trying to pull out. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be just a different take, right? And those are at the very least they're refreshing, and it's exciting to see what they do with it. I still wish that would have been a Batman Beyond movie though, because
that would have been cool.
Because Robert Pattinson as Terry McGinnis would have been great.
Aren't they doing a new animated movie or TV series for that?
I think they're doing a new animated movie, which is actually pretty exciting, I would say, because DC's animated stuff is usually pretty good. Their last couple ones, though, there's been a few that were like really high profile animated movies that just did not cut it. Like their version of Killing Joke was not good, like that. No. And I'm a huge fan of that comic, so like it was not good.
I heard.
I'm curious. We're also like a little bit out, like past. Amelia, did you watch the end? I feel like you're not caught up on WandaVision. That doesn't feel.
I watched the whole motherfucking thing, because I knew we were gonna have this conversation. Okay. I watched it.
Yeah. Well, this is a good time because I think John will add a lot to that. So I'm kind of curious, John. How do you feel about it in the end? What was your take?
I loved it. Oh my god, I was. I've been thinking about. Side note, doing my own podcast about some stuff that we could talk about. I'll talk about it with you after this podcast. But
sure.
WandaVision was an episode I wanted to do because I feel there's so much in that show that people just miss out on. And I don't think they're missing out on it at all. I think it's just me personally. There were certain aspects of it that I appreciated, I think, more than other people did. For me, I can see that. The way that they did the whole sitcom or comedies, sitcoms through time was so good.
Yep.
People, when people saw the first 2 episodes, a lot of people were like, I don't really get it. It's not that funny, things like that. I'm like, this was the comedy of the time. If you stuck this back, the I Love Lucy episodes, if you stuck those episodes back in the 60s and stuff, it would have fit in perfectly.
They would have been bangers.
They did an incredible job writing it. I was so amazed at that, and they did such a good job with that. I understand. I had a little time to soak in that. I finally watched the final episode, and I liked it a lot. I understood where a lot of people. I'll avoid spoilers as much. I understood why people didn't like it as much. There was quite a few little kind of plot holes. There was some anticlimactic things. It was all over the place a little bit here and there, and it was overall uninteresting compared to the rest of the series. But also that the final goodbye is what I'll say is potentially some of the best writing Marvel has ever done.
Easily.
Just Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen killed it in that series. Like God, they can act, man.
And I'll talk about chemistry too. Yeah. Like just chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah. It was a show about marriage and just couples and relationships, and the fact that even with everything going on at where they were at kind of odd ends, especially with Vision not learning things as going on, he never stopped being part of that relationship. He never gave up on it, right? And it was just so well done. It was definitely the best romance they've done in Marvel.
I think you nailed something that I really appreciated about it, which is I think like a lot of people were disappointed that this only minorly teases out what's going to happen next to the MCU, and I was kind of glad about that because it was nice that what they really showed off from like a production level at least was like they understand the level of content that a TV show needs to not only be a part of the Marvel universe but like also like be able to still be part of like its own separate thing and have its own scale to that like setting and not be able to not having to interfere out with everything else. Like it feels like it's very good at being condensed and also part of its a bigger whole. It feels like a good trade paperback. Like I'm buying this arc of comics. I'm just gonna sit through it. I don't worry about what's before and what's after. I can still sit through this thing in the middle and get something out of it.
It's very much its own product, and I get you also because it was like. One, it's in the fact that the way that the episode structure worked and they went through their different time periods and really tried to tap into what television was at that time. It was both a love letter to television while at the same time, like, being a Marvel show, they were trying to make a good television show, period, that was also just a part of Marvel, right? And just like a miniseries, which is honestly, like, I think we're in a golden era of that kind of art form, right? Like of that kind of medium, that kind of way of expressing a narrative, and yeah, man, I think they held their own. Like I was I think I was on the opposite end where I was more skeptical at the end, and not so much because of the timepiece part of it, because like even the first episodes I watched it with my mom, and she was a huge like I Love Lucy fan, so it was cool like watching it with somebody who was like, yo, what the fuck, this is new and they're doing this, like I love this shit, I grew up on this. And it was more of like, all right, like the Marvel piece of it, and just like I was like, I don't know if I care about these characters yet, but by the end, man, they had me by the heartstrings. Like they did a great job. They made me care about characters that honestly I didn't really care about before, and I think they pulled it off.
I think one thing that I thought about, I've been thinking about, it'd be really cool for someone to go back and do an analysis through the idea of like, what does it mean for escapism? Because that whole show, I think, is trended around that idea of like she's trying to escape grief, right? And so she sets up a situation for herself. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious on like, it'd be interesting to see how they look at the idea of TV as escapism and how it plays into the whole wider narrative of things. I don't have the time to do that right now, but if someone out there is a YouTuber and they need a video essay idea, you can steal it from me and then quote me in the video.
Thanks for the inspiration.
Final notes for it is Scarlet Witch, amazing villain. She would make
the costume.
She probably one of Marvel's best and most intriguing villains, like on the level of Loki level of a character arc would be great. I don't think they're going to keep her a villain, but I think they should. I think she'd be great as that. And then I know the big thing that people were wanting from it was they were hoping mutants would be a part of this in some degree. They thought that they were going to do a reverse House of M where Scarlet Witch was going to create mutants. I'm kind of happy they didn't, because let's be real, that would be such a cop-out for them to just be like, Scarlet Witch created them. I'm sure they have the Marvel writers are much smarter than we are, probably. They probably have a much better idea of how they're going to introduce mutants into the greater universe, right?
Yeah, and not just smart, but also like they got the vision for it. Like as far as they're looking at the long term, right? Like they're looking at the long term. They see this as like 10 years down the road. It's like, how are we going to get to what we already know we're building up towards, right? Like where us it's just like, here's the show, here's the new content. Oh damn, fan theories like as soon as it drops, like with no context, right?
Right.
Dude, Kevin Feige would make a great producer in the video game industry. I'm just saying.
Definitely.
Dude, him and Jon Favreau. I don't know, dude. How does Jon Favreau live? Does that man sleep ever? Because he's also doing he's doing all the Marvel stuff, and now he's also doing all this Star Wars stuff. Like, what does that guy? How does that guy live?
I hope that man gets to sleep on a bed made of cash, because that's what Disney owes him at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Because bro, he's propped up so many industries and so many franchises.
It's crazy,
and still able to with that workload and all the shit he's involved with, he's still creative as fuck. Like every time I'm like, damn, he's attached to this. I'm like, that was clever. Like that was well made.
Didn't he technically make Chef while he was still working on Marvel shit?
Dude, he wrote it, he directed it, he starred in the fucking thing. I was there when they filmed it.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
It was in Ocean Drive. I saw the fucking truck and shit. Yeah, but yeah, dude, fucking great movie, great fucking movie. Put Cuban sandwiches back on the map.
I don't think they ever left, Emilio. I don't think they ever left.
They shouldn't, but at least he put it onto people that were like, I didn't know about it. I don't know, bro. There's Cuban sandwich shops in Seattle now and shit. Like, he did something.
But yeah, I think that we're 40 minutes in. We need to get to the rest of this. So I think that does it for Freakness of the Week.
Ramblations.
What are we going to talk about, actually? We're going to talk about Twitch. We're going to talk about you a little bit, and we're going to talk about what's been on your mind. And I guess I would like to start with, what's your current thoughts about Twitch today? As someone that's involved in the grander scheme of things as a creator. So I'm kind of curious on, where do you see it going? Where does it come from to you so far?
So let me pose this. The best way, I think one of the questions that a lot of people tend to have is how do I become a content creator? Or how do I become a live streamer? You want to know the best way to grow your Twitch channel, your Twitch live streaming channel in 2021?
Please enlighten us.
Make YouTube videos.
Yeah, I've heard this a lot.
So Twitch has fundamentally, and it's been a problem forever, And we're starting to see this direction where, honestly, it's going to be a while, but YouTube is set to take over where Twitch is going right now, because YouTube has actual discoverability. Is biggest thing it comes down to is discoverability. Twitch is still using a lot of systems that it started with when it was Justin TV days.
Damn.
They have there's zero discoverability, and with the oversaturation of the amount of streamers that are on the platform, when I started streaming 7-8 years ago, I don't know, you could theoretically just click the go live button, start live streaming video games, and there was a chance that you might actually do okay. You might actually be able to become a streamer by doing that. You just click go live, be entertaining, play some games, do whatever, and you have a chance. Not the case anymore. Sure, there's going to be the 0.001% of people who are able to do that, right? But overall, there's nothing. If you go onto any game directory, if you go looking at the browse, which so few people go click on browse because they're looking for new streams. There are people looking for new streams, but it tends to be recommendations from others and things like that. When they click browse, the idea that they're going to scroll through pages and pages of streamers to click on yours, for even games that aren't that popular, take Halo for instance. Halo is not that heavily viewed on Twitch. It maybe is top 50 on most days, maybe on Twitch, and it still has hundreds of streams on it of people going who are streaming to 1 to 10 viewers on average, right? There's only, the reason why they're in the top 50 is because the 3 people who have a few hundred viewers each, and that's it. Everyone else is below 10. And there's no way for you to get discovered in that unless you are being featured somewhere or you're doing something very specific and unknown or whatever it is. Unless you're doing something incredibly unique, there's no way to be found on Twitch.
I'm kind of curious, so let's start with one thing, right? The one thing you started with is you think there's a lack of discoverability on Twitch. I'm kind of curious on how does YouTube seem to bridge that gap that Twitch is seeming to lack right now?
So Twitch,
it's a big question.
The biggest thing is the recommended videos and things like that. So Twitch does have a recommended channels section, but it's not even really a real recommended section like YouTube has. It's just kind of oh, I see you've clicked on a lot of Halo streams. Here's a guy who already has some viewers who is also a Halo stream. It doesn't read really your titles. It doesn't read your content. It doesn't do any of that to really understand the kind of content creator you are. It does to an extent, but not well. Whereas YouTube, on the other hand, they have been mastering this for 2 decades now. They've been mastering these algorithms and things like that. For instance, right now, I've been making I'm starting to work on a lot of TikTok videos and YouTube short videos, to be specific. Because algorithms, you can manipulate those algorithms heavily. And YouTube Shorts are getting slammed in the algorithm a lot right now. They're getting just highly recommended because Twitch is just trying to push that feature.
Yep.
Which is really funny because if you had asked a YouTuber about, I want to say about 7 years ago, I think that's a good timeline, about 7 years ago, if they were going to make a video that was less than 10 minutes, you'd be like, I can't do it. I would literally get, I wouldn't make monetization.
Nope. That's because around that time they changed. So YouTube changed its money-making algorithm. It used to be that as long as people clicked on your video, you got paid out for ad revenue and stuff like that. Now it's about how long people watch your video. The longer they stay in the video, the more views you get. So those channels that do the 10-second how to tie your shoe or how to tie a tie, they got destroyed. They pretty much got kicked off the platform because they just didn't have long enough content to be able to make any revenue off of it. So
it seems like it's such a struggle. It seems like you can't I think and this is an overall, because I know that I've heard that YouTube uses a machine learning algorithm to do some of the recommendation stuff and stuff like that. And like you said, it sounds like some of the training data, which is usually something you feed the algorithm to make it learn slightly better. So that's your mini That's your machine learning 101 right there, kids. Anyone that's listening, you got a little bit of machine learning right there. But there's a sense of feast or famine, you know? Like 7 years ago, you make a 10-minute video, everything's good and dandy, you're gonna get monetized, everything's good. And then 2 years after that, you got your first adpocalypse, right? You can't have certain words anymore. The algorithm's way harsher about what it listens to, what images it looks at, and then that changes and that changes. And now we're here in this other landscape, which is like, all right, you want what seems from what you're describing, John, it seems like what we're now looking for, what the algorithm seems to be targeting now is slightly longer form stuff, it looks like, or something like that.
Well, it's a combo of all, and as I said, the algorithms just are more complex. They do listen to the content that you make, and they do relate it to other people and who have similar content and what you talk about, keywords that you bring up. They do get you demonetized and stuff like that. Like if you mention the word COVID in a video, it will demonetize your videos. That's why people can't. Wow. Yeah,
it adds that little box. Adds a little box right under your video title where it's like, this video mentions COVID-19. Here's a link to
actual facts.
More understand the Well, you were gonna say something, Emilio, a little while ago. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off, John, but I was curious what you had to say.
Yeah, so I think it's also like what kind of content people want to watch as well. I think with the advent of of Snapchat and Instagram stories and just really short forms of videos and actually before that Vine, right? I think people are just used to that, and they want that instant gratification. They're getting it on other social platforms, and that maybe people just don't want to sit through a bunch of 10-minute long videos, and they just want to go for that. Because I've been seeing that too on YouTube with the shorts.
And there's YouTube gives you actual direction. And that's, I think, one of the big differences is they actually have channel analytics. Like Twitch has analytics, but they're kind of hard to read. You're just kind of going through, and because of the kind of content that it is, it's not really about what people are watching and stuff like that. But I mean, that's why, again, there's all these rules, like don't make over 20-minute videos and things like that, because you can go into your analytics and you can see, I have some videos that are 15 hours long because it's me speedrunning all the games. And you can see the drop of by the half hour mark. 80% of the people have just stopped watching, if not more. It's like 98% of everyone has stopped watching. Or maybe they come back and watch it later because it's a long video, whatever it is. But just society in general is that instant gratification.
It's like if you're speedrunning, they'll get it to if you're speedrunning all of Halo, it's like, all right, man, I want to see the escape scene in Halo 2 with the Arbiter and the Warthog, and they're gonna get to the moments, right? Those moments.
They want to see specific games and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, the algorithm's gotten so good at what it sees and content specifically, because now you guys, I'm assuming that you guys I don't know if you guys watch this on YouTube as I do. I consume way too much YouTube. It's an unhealthy habit.
Me too.
But if you look at older videos now, newer videos had that thing where they would slice into chapters, and I think that was creator controlled, where you could say from this top point to this point on the timeline, it's this chapter, and you can it'll actually if you scrub over it in the timeline, it'll show you that. But now you can even do that on older videos, and I think it just auto generates those for some people. And I'm kind of just this is impressive, but also kind of damn, this thing is getting YouTube seems to have this problem where the giant algorithm beast, is getting fatter and fatter and fatter and can kind of get crazy. And I think, and they got to a point now where things are a lot better than they used to be. But I'm kind of curious on for Twitch to do something similar. There's so many hoops and hurdles that they would have to still climb. It might even kill the platform. I'm not saying maybe Twitch is too big to fail at this point, but there's a chance. You never know, man. Yeah. Especially with the internet, you never know.
And that's what I was saying earlier is YouTube is constantly innovating. Especially I was gonna go towards even their YouTube gaming. So their live streaming platform. So not even just the recorded videos. They're doing a lot of stuff. They took a lot of things from Mixer and are implementing that themselves. But in general, there's just more discoverability of how the algorithm searches and how they search live channels and stuff, that you have a lot of opportunity. And again, YouTube is a bigger platform in general. It's just got more users overall. Now, it's not people just watching gaming or anything like that, watching live streams necessarily. But overall, it's just more people and a bigger and better algorithm than Twitch has. And both YouTube and Twitch always go through these cycles of being in the newsworthy
Feast or
for
famine,
something
dude.
bad.
Feast or famine, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
It's feast or famine for
and
advertisers.
Twitch has been getting knocked hard for a lot of the decisions that they've been doing and how they're enforcing rules and how they're treating platform. And the fact is they're really not doing any real innovations that we've seen in the last few years even. That whereas YouTube is really moving up, and I think over time, it's not going to be soon, but over time YouTube gaming will take over Twitch as the main streaming platform because Twitch is just going to get left behind. So
You heard it here, folks. Here first, folks.
We have a tendency on this. Usually, our prophecies only are about 2 weeks ahead of time, but we do manage to make some things come true, John. So
it's going to be
careful
2 years,
what
not
you
2 weeks.
It's okay. This is a whole insider info, but I've been even thinking about giving up my Twitch partnership for a lot of reasons of how Twitch locks people into contracts and stuff like that versus how YouTube does contracts and stuff.
Are they a lot more relaxed? Or?
Yeah, a lot of it is that exclusivity clauses and stuff that Twitch has that a lot of other platforms don't. That if I were to get out of it, and this is, again, more insider than I think people need about like the Twitch partner stuff, but it would just give you honestly more opportunity. If you're looking to grow your channel, forget about the few bucks you're making from doing a Twitch partner. Unless you're already insanely successful, one of the top 1% of streamers, you're probably going to have better luck growing and probably potentially have a higher financial revenue if you just expand out everywhere all at once instead of locking yourself into one platform. So, but that's a whole deep dive into affiliate and partner contracts and the differences between them and stuff
something
like
that most people might not even ever get to see, right? Like in their career as a Twitch
and I will say the affiliate contract is just as harsh harsher, to be honest. So it's I do question why people do affiliate status at this point, but that's, as I said, talk for another day.
I'm
inside baseball.
Yeah, I'm curious about something. With now sharing onto and streaming has become such an easy, at least from the outside. I don't stream, but it seems like at least the consoles are really pushing being able to stream natively from their consoles. I'm sure that's flooding Twitch with a lot of new users. Would you think that maybe like the move to YouTube, because it's a more involved process where you have to edit videos and really have some time and skill to put the content together rather than just jumping on and being this new player, might not have a microphone or whatever, they're just playing the game and maybe they have their camera on and that's about it, right? Like do you think that's influencing this in any way?
Yeah, for sure. And it's, once again, a lot of it has to do with the population amounts, but it is also the kind of content that we've wanted in the last few years. Like we were talking about, is content in general has changed where people were flooding to Twitch initially because the social interaction part of it and that kind of stuff was interesting. It was new. People liked it. But we go through these cycles all the time. I have a whole bit about, how esports tends to trend up and then like different game genres tended to trend up, like how speedrunning came up and then kind of went down. And then we had Let's Plays kind of doing a bit of trending and then that's gone down. And then, so I've got a whole lot of that, but one constant is always esports. It's always about high skill players, but in general, nowadays, people interaction is fine, but now they want more. It's once again, people are now past the whole, they get it. They can get social interaction for anyone from anywhere. So why would they choose your stream over maybe someone else who they already know interacts with them and stuff like that, right? Why would they expand out? And so YouTube, one with their live service, but also videos in general, content just has to be different. People are now looking for, they've regressed into wanting more 20-minute informational snippets.
I'm kind of curious on so we talked about how briefly that the YouTube algorithm kind of sometimes even forces you to be more creative sometimes. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Because it does blow when
a format you've been making money with for a while doesn't support you anymore because someone changed an algorithm. But like I was saying before that, even is that like it does give you a tendency to try to think outside of the box. I'm curious on does Twitch seem to have that evolution, and YouTube forces it through discoverability, through their algorithm, stuff like that. Is there anything like there is a seasonal trend in Twitch, but is there anything else that kind of forces you to keep you on your toes as a creator?
On Twitch, no. I mean, again, I can speak from my own perspective of I've doing these 8 years of streaming. I started out being like, I didn't like editing. I didn't think I was that funny. I didn't even know really what to make. So streaming was nice, easy. I click the button and I go. And I waited too long. I should have been doing YouTube years ago at this point, but I've really only just started this year and a little bit last year into really diving more into that field and trying to be more creative because I need to. And the problem is that creativity and stuff doesn't, it helps on Twitch, but there's nothing there forcing you to do that. Right? You could sit down and you still just play because you have your own dedicated user base that is going to come to you kind of no matter what you do. And it's one of those weird scenarios where YouTube forces you because of their algorithms and stuff. Twitch forces you solely because it's the only way to quote unquote make it nowadays. But you have to be doing crazy stuff. You have to be like Rudism and stuff like that, who he plays, he makes all these weird game controllers. He was just playing
that guy.
Call of Duty, yeah. He was just playing Call of Duty Warzone with a baguette.
Was he the guy that did the like he played Symmetra and Overwatch with like a microwave or something like that? Or like
he does all those. He did, was it Overwatch with Doritos? Is that the one? He had like Dorito chips hooked up or something like that. Yeah,
he did. I know he did a pomegranate for Hades at one point. There was the banana and Winston, specifically playing using a banana to play Winston.
Fall Guys. He had an actual like giant bean or something like that he hooked up controllers to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also like thinking about like, I guess I don't want to call him a gimmick stream because that feels a little rude, but I guess in some sense it is.
That's the way you make it. Honestly, the way to the only way to be part of that 1% who quote unquote make it nowadays on Twitch is being those gimmick streams, at least for a while. You can break out if you're smart. You break out of that eventually, but.
You show that there's substance to the shock, right? Like there's something that's what's gonna bring you in, but you need something to keep people there.
Right.
Yeah. I'm curious, man, because like, we've gotten a lot into the business of it and the future and what your perspective of it is. I'm curious on like favorite moments of yours. Like what you've been doing this for a while now. There's a reason you're still doing this. Like. What favorite moments do you have either interacting with your fans or just doing something while you're streaming that has kept you still doing it?
That's such a loaded question because there's so much to it. Like I love doing it. When it comes down to why I keep doing it is I simply love being a content creator. I love having a platform that's all about me.
For sure.
I get to just talk about me.
Preaching to the choir.
I get to, rip my shirt off. I'm not allowed to do that. But if I wanted to, I could. Who's going to stop me? I'll force you to look at my gorgeous body.
Free the
Yeah, exactly. The truth is I just do. It's a platform that I feel I can really connect. It's been a very cathartic experience, honestly. It's almost a form of therapy a lot of times. I get to talk out a lot of things that I just get to ramble a lot of times that I don't necessarily get with other people who either don't care or stuff like that. Yeah, you have a place that you can kind of just chat about stuff. But on top of that, like favorite moments, I love doing 24-hour streams. I've had some amazing stuff, people's support and stuff like that. But I think a lot of my favorite moments come from interacting with viewers, either in real life or just helping people out. I really like to feel. Maybe it is partly an ego thing, but I really like to feel that my stream is a place that people can come and just get away from the world for a while. There's so much negativity at times, and there's so much stuff, and people are just struggling. And so I like that it seems that people seem to have a place that they can listen to me bitch about stuff half the time, but also can talk about their own things and get someone to give a little perspective, get a little honest answers, and just help people out in that degree. My favorite thing to do on the platform is to help people either with their own life or even just become streamers, help them understand the platform, help them understand content creation, or understand different scenarios that they might not have thought of. And it's led to some very interesting discussions that have either got me in trouble or some stuff that I feel is very honest and truthful that a lot of people don't. And I think I come from a very special... I think I come from a different perspective, because you always hear... History is written by the victors, right? You hear about all the success stories and stuff like that, but you don't always hear about you don't hear about all the people who have failed at this and all that. I get the same question all the time. I have a buddy who used to be a big Halo content creator, and he's gone. I mean, the guy, and I tell people all the time, like, the dude graduated from Stanford. All right, he was wasting his talents. He's over at Amazon Prime Video right now as like a team lead engineer. The dude's killing it, and he's making way more money than he ever did on YouTube. Okay, like he's doing great. And the fact is, though, is like there just comes to a point that it's a very stressful. It's not easy. A lot of people think it is. Like I said, a lot of people do think it's just clicking the go live button and that's it, and you talk on the occasion and stuff like that. It is. You see countless times where people are like, dude, I stream for 4 hours and I'm exhausted. I need to go. I'm a weird person that I love doing 12-hour streams and stuff, and I don't... It fuels me. Streaming fuels me. It fuels my energy. It's where I can be introverted and extroverted at the same time. Nice. So, and it's just a place that... It's powerful, and I'm in a position that I've been doing this for 8 years, and I haven't necessarily hit my big break necessarily, right? Like I'm not ninja level popular. I'm not, you don't hear the 100 success. So you get a perspective of someone who's been grinding for years, who's had some moderate success.
My dude, you have an
and
achievement.
Is still trying to make it, and just the honest background, because all the time, I still see it on Twitter. People like, just believe in yourselves. If you work hard, you'll get there. It's like, that's not the case. Like, I love that enthusiasm.
It's not the single factor, right?
I love
determination and perseverance is part of it, but it's not the single factor.
It should be, but there's so much luck involved. There's so much work that's involved. And I tell everything when it comes to Twitch and stuff comes down to luck. But there's ways to manipulate that luck to your favor. Right. And that's what your job is. Your job isn't trying to grow your channel to become popular. It's trying to change your luck in hopes that something will stick. And I like having that honest perspective with people who can tell is like, hey, you can do this and you should doing this. Twitch has been a life-changing experience. I've met people. I've been able to do stuff. Again, I've done some casting gigs that I've always wanted to do. I am now buddies with my favorite esports player of all time. Like I work with game studios like 343 and stuff like that. These are opportunities that I never would have gotten if I didn't become a streamer. And I didn't even get a modicum of success, just a small amount of becoming a Twitch partner and being in at the right time, doing the right things, has allowed me opportunities that I never would have had elsewhere and dream-like opportunities. So it has been an incredible experience, but the grind never stops. Everyone talks about, you see all the time that people are like, I love streaming because I get to make your own schedule. Well, that's true if your own schedule is planning out every single hour of every single day for the rest of your life. Like, even doing these podcasts and stuff, you have to plan your days around everything. I have my entire weeks planned out of like, how many hours am I going to stream? When am I going to stream? What kind of content am I going to do? Nowadays, now that I'm doing a lot of video editing and stuff, like today I was like, I'm not streaming. I am just sitting down and I have to do like 8 to 10 hours of video editing all day long. And it's not easy by any means. If you truly want to be successful in this, it is a nonstop, day in, day out job that you are working. It's a job that you might love doing because it's just the energy that fuels you, but it is work at the end of the day. And I do feel that. I mean, as I said, I have to plan out everything. And even on the times that I'm not necessarily streaming or making content, all I think about is making content. You know, I've recently just become single and stuff like that, and it's given me some more time to kind of invest in this. And it's nice because every relationship I've ever had since I started streaming, honestly, streaming has become a point of contention for it. And a lot of it's not a knock at anyone I've dated or anything like that, because they were all very supportive as they could be and stuff like that. But it's hard. It's hard when you're trying to put so much effort and so much love and time and effort into something. It's hard to give a lot of effort and stuff in other places of your life. And it's hard to manage it all. Time management is a real problem as a streamer, especially trying to be a successful one. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't care to be successful, you just enjoy it, then yeah, won't be a problem. You could just click the stream button, go live, and then you don't have to think about it. But as I said, every single day, every waking moment of the day, I'm thinking about new content and ways that I could be pushing myself farther. So
damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, but there you
I
go.
think you just took us on a ride. Like,
That was.
damn.
I feel like I just watched a
that was a long rant. I apologize.
No,
I
feel like I just watched a biopic.
Not at all. No. I mean, were you gonna say anything?
No, I was just gonna say, like, you're talking about time management and the fact that it has had its impacts on your life. Neutral, right? Like, as far as like, it's neither good nor bad. It's just the reality that you live in, and anybody that comes into it, that's also a shared reality they're agreeing to be part of. As far as the time management portion of it, and the way that it's impacted your life, are there any lessons that you've taken to be able to balance that? You've gone through multiple relationships through this, and how have you found a way to balance that these parts of your life?
It's a hard one. I don't know if I figured it all out myself, you know.
Which is that's a valid answer.
Yeah,
right?
I've learned so much in the time. Like, as I said, I think a large portion of why I quote unquote didn't break big or whatever you want to say was that I had a really good upward momentum, and then I made the wrong decisions. I made the wrong money moves at the wrong times. That, you know, things kind of went the opposite way of what I was hoping, and coming to terms with that has been one of the hardest things I think I've done as a content creator. It's constantly something that has weighed on me. It's constantly something that's thought about, and it's constantly something that puts you in a bad mood. And you hear it all the time of all these streamers with a lot of mental health issues and stuff like that. And it sounds strange, but it's solely out of just pure overwork, over mental strain. Of thinking about what you've done wrong and what you could have done or what you can do, or things just not going. It's hard, and that the time management. The best I can do is you truly have to, and I don't have a solution. I can tell you that I'm still grappling with it, and I haven't fully done it. But truly coming to terms with where you are as a content creator, whether it's how successful you are or the kind of content you are, and being 100% honest of the content creator that you are. Because the fact is, not everyone can be a content creator. Everyone can try, and everyone should try streaming. I suggest everyone should do it. It's an amazing experience that if you enjoy playing games and playing with friends, you should do it. But the fact is, as negative as it sounds, there are certain people who are just not going to be successful as a content creator. Maybe they'll have like I said, a modicum of success, but overall, it's not going to be what they want it to be. And if they're okay with that, good. Because you need to come to terms with that. And it's the hardest thing that you'll do as a content creator is being happy with where you are and trying to push farther. Like, being happy doesn't mean you're being complacent. It just simply means you got to push farther and harder than you necessarily were before. And understanding that and moving forward with that. And take days. I do. There are times where recently I've been thinking about just taking a week off to really sit down. And it's not a week off to not think about anything. It's a week off to plan what my content calendar looks like for the next year. Right?
Damn.
It is take time and truly think about it all. And as I said, even the hardest thing is when you take days off, all you think about is content creation. If you truly, I think maybe that's just me, but that's it. I have such a hard time breaking away from it that when I hang out with people and stuff like that, I just go off in my own head thinking about what the next plan is. And it's hard to do. So sometimes you got to shut down your brain, find stuff. Daya knows I think the best things that I've done is when I need a day, I go to the movies. I go to the movie theater. I sit down. Movie theaters are a great way for me to actually shut my brain off from content creation and focus on something. And you need to have that kind of distraction on the occasion. And I think that's the best I can give you is find something that can truly distract you. And that's pretty tough to do.
I think you nailed a lot of things. It's really hard to try to condense all that down into a few different statements. But
yeah, sorry, I've been jumping all over the place.
No, dude, again, like this is exactly why I brought you on, because I was hoping to, I guess, squeeze content out of you. But I think one of the last things you nailed, and I've always found it interesting, is that I think that whatever potential path in your life that you choose, whether it's like a career or like a creative outlet or something like that, it really does have an effect on your brain. And I think we've talked about it on the show, like when we did the episode about like, having game developers is like, presidential cabinet members or something like that. I think what that actually is the effect of like brain rot, I guess is like a word I like to use for it. And brain rot's a kind of an offensive term for it, but what I'm trying to get at is that like, whatever pathway you choose in life is really going to shape how you start looking at things.
Yep.
Like I still am a very emotional person, but like due to the amount of programming I've done and how much I had to learn and like all the different steps I had to take, the logical side of my mind, like the logical side of my personality is much more prevalent than it was like 5 years ago. There's a difference in how I conduct myself.
Right. It's what you've been flexing 100%. And like, I think also what you were going through when you were saying like when you're not doing it, that's all you're thinking about. You could probably say that about any highly engaged professional in any sort of craft, right?
For sure.
Any type of passion,
Yeah.
Like
it consumes you.
Well, it's that I think people have called it the Tetris effect, right? Because you start imagining that thing, but at all times, right? Like people will talk about how like if you play Tetris for a long, long time, you start seeing yourself doing the blocks and the lines and everything. I think it's the same as for content creating, for game development. I mean, the difference between like, I think one of the differences between like an experienced game developer and a less experienced game developer is like just how they can take an experience and like try to boil down the functional systematic aspects of it, right? Like a good game designer will be able to look at a situation in real life and be like, I can pluck these things out of it to make them into a gameable system really easily. And I think that's some impressive shit, like that, like, damn, that's like, it's not something I'm still at, like for me, it's more about like, I'm still trying to build that skill set up and I still look at things and try to figure out how I would program a system to kind of reflect them in real life. But there's a lot of systems and a lot of things out there that you can't understand like that, first of all. Second of all, even if you do, like, even if you want to make a good imitation of it, it's still going to take a lot of, like, processing and, like experience, I guess, is, like, the best way I can put it. So I think you really nailed those things. And I think, like you stated, like, it's crazy to see how Twitch has fostered a sense of mental health awareness in the last couple of years. You guys have your own resident, like, mental health expert now. Like, Dr. K is out there diagnosing Twitch streamers left and right. And it's just... Kind of, have you heard about this, Emilio?
Who is this man?
Oh, dude, I'm surprised. I'll send you some of his stuff later on after this. And listener, you should check this shit out too. Yeah. He is a psychologist, like an actual. I think he's a Harvard grad. I don't want to say for sure, but I know he went to some type of very high institution for a psychology degree. And he regularly puts on streams where he'll interview streamers and talk to them about their whatever, if it's burnout or some personal issues going on. Like he will literally have the whole therapy session.
Wow.
Yeah.
For the streamers themselves, or like for viewers that are he has his own
Both.
stream that
It's
viewers go
him
to?
talking to the streamer, but he's also streaming that experience, and they know what they're getting into, right? Like the streamers they're not unaware of it, and they probably have brain rot where they're like, yeah, let's
this.
content create out of my mental health issues. Like that's
me.
totally a thing I could see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
And as I said, I have so much. I'll stop there mostly because, dude, I could talk about this in nauseum. So if you guys ever want me on again, I could talk more. I mean, I could talk more about like business opportunity. I didn't even get into like the kind of business opportunities being a Twitch streamer has come up and reasons why of like even career moves that is not necessarily in the content creation sphere that has opened up doors.
I mean, dude, I really hope that we have you on as a recurring guest, and I think that's why we wanted to. For the listeners out there that have been listening to every episode, it's like the last time we did an interview was very much more of a tight experience because we wanted to make sure that we don't like, you know, the person that we were interviewing, Atomic, he had a set amount of time, he had a lot of other focuses in life, but you know, when you have someone that has content creation brain rot, we can probably ask him to come on as much as we want.
We're gonna bring Dr. K next time also though, just so you know.
We're gonna do a live therapy session on the podcast
Sounds
themselves.
good.
All right, moving on to our next segment. Dope shit to check out.
Ramblations.
We got dope shit to check out. God, my brain's fried.
We're at the end. John, so at the end of every episode, we usually talk about some sort of piece of media or anything that you'd want to recommend that you want people to check out.
To dope shit to check out.
Hey,
Oh yo, this man needs to be on the radio.
Dude, I got a buddy. I think you've met DJ, yeah?
no, that's not in there.
Okay, you have to meet him. That dude has the craziest voice.
His name's DJ.
Yeah, right. I was about to say his name's DJ, and he has a jockey voice. That's kind of awesome.
his real his real name is Matt, but yeah, everyone calls him DJ. He even goes by DJ. Like I think even at this point, I'm pretty sure his own mother calls him DJ. So
What's Matt's last? Just like, what's the first initial of his last name?
B.
Oh man, so close. If it was MC, that'd be awesome. Like,
Yeah.
like, bro, if he goes by DJ and his initials are MC and he has that voice, dude, it's written in the stars, man. Like,
So, but he's got the craziest radio voice ever. I thought you met him. You must have at PAX or something. Maybe not, but either way, yeah, he's got that radio voice. But
yeah, dude, what's your dope shit to check out? And then, honestly, you know how like, please tell us a different piece of media. But like, this is also your, like, if you want to take this time to plug anything, like, by all means, your Twitter account, your Twitch, whatever you want to plug.
We'll do that at the end. All
right, for sure.
I'll give my shameless plugs, but
we'll roll the
honestly,
red carpet out for you.
Something I've been really into, I've been pretty into podcasts and stuff recently myself. Yeah. So I got two small ones. First off, one that I'll say that's entering dangerous category, but
I'll make sure if you're doing the one that I'll do, I'll make sure to make it in style. I'll bleep it out and everything. You could say the name if you want to. And I'll actually put in the editing for it.
I got two. One is oh, I see what you're saying. That was gonna be the second. The first one is a Hoj. If you guys haven't, Hoj is a cryptocurrency thing. It's a de-inflationary cryptocurrency. It's something that I've actually put in some money to.
Interesting.
I would have people who are into crypto or interested at all just go look at it. I'm not recommending investing in it. I'm not recommending anything like that. Just go look at it because it's just hilarious. It's a meme crypto along the lines of Doge, but even memeier, but also taken way more seriously, and it's amazing. So nice. I would suggest that because I think it's just hilarious. The second one I want to do is I've been really into podcasts and stuff recently. I put Daya onto this one. I would say just look at I'm a big fan of Rooster Teeth, which if you guys don't know is they were known for making Red vs. Blue, which was a Halo machinima, which was if you don't know what machinima is, it's just pretty much they're in video games moving characters up and down in the video game with their head movements and stuff like that.
Hilarious.
But Rooster Teeth is a very popular YouTube company or production company now. They make movies. It's crazy how much what they've done. But they're now becoming a podcast company, and they have some amazing podcasts from Black Box Down, which was about airplanes, airplane crashes, There's not a lot of them, but also some of the craziest stories I've ever heard. Like action movie of someone trying to hijack a UPS package flight, and like the pilot is like one hand doing barrel rolls in the plane to shake the guy up. It's crazy.
Jesus.
So crazy stuff in that one. I also have been listening to Red Web, which is conspiracy theory podcast kind of thing. That's pretty cool. But the big one that Daya has put on is I'll say it, and Daya will have to put in the bleep, is called Fuckface.
You gotta beat nothing. That's
No.
Yeah.
So here, it's a gimmick.
Oh,
Emilio.
yeah.
The title of the actual show is F***K face, right? But they do a bit where they can't say the word fuckface, and I'll do it for I will literally beep that out in editing afterwards to be in tandem with the joke.
It is the most ridiculous podcast. It's basically three of them. One of them was one of the co-founders of Rooster Teeth, Jeff Ramsey, a guy named Gavin Free, who's part of Slow Mo Guys, and then also he does Rooster Teeth. And then another one, which is their buddy, Andrew Panton, or now his name is Raymond Somer.
I haven't gotten there yet.
You haven't got there? Raymond Somer might be his real
arc.
actual name. I don't know. Point is, it's pretty much a podcast talking about how much of a crazy person Andrew is, and they just talk about random stories that they have, and they go off, and it's the most ridiculous. It sounds, you have to start from episode 1 because there is some continuity almost to it, but it's ridiculous. The stories that they come up with.
It's very funny.
Very funny. With those people, legitimately don't know if they're real. I don't know if they're improvised. Some of it probably is. The amount of stuff that's happened to Andrew, there's no way that it seems impossible for it to all happen to one person. He's a crazy person, and it's hilarious. So I would recommend those.
It's like the story of everybody around him. He just like puts it on like. So
I don't know. He talked about almost kicking a kid in the chest because he was scared, and because the kid was creeping on him and stuff like that. Like
they use the word fuckface, which again I'm gonna bleep that one out too. I'm gonna keep this joke going for us.
A term of endearment for him.
Yeah, but their definition for that word is that the act of doing something to yourself on purpose, just for the comedic purposes of it, just to see where how far you can push the joke.
It's like shooting yourself in the foot. It's probably worse for you. In reality, the pain that it probably caused you is a lot worse, but you did it for the laugh, so I guess worth it.
It's very good. It's nice.
Yeah, and they have a lot. They talk about like. They've completely changed the baseball card market recently. If you get to the newer episodes, they just talked about how they've destroyed the baseball trading card market.
Is it because of the Billy Ripken thing?
Just bought everything?
Different guy. They did decide it was because of the Billy Ripken thing. They went on and they decided to try and get their fans and themselves to buy up all of a certain card to just jack the price up of a certain card.
They pulled the
and they've
GameStop
completely destroyed the baseball trading market.
Of the baseball trading card. Wow.
So I would highly suggest it. It's hilarious. So
I could dig it.
That's my dope shit.
Wow. That's some pretty dope shit. For me, you know what? I'm also gonna plug a podcast. I was recently a guest on somebody else's podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. For an old friend of mine from
We got
one
more week, right? Before that comes out, right?
One more week. And the podcast is called Midnight in Miami. We spent a weekend out in Miami, and I was able to be a guest on their show. And it's basically a podcast that showcases different personalities in the city and what they mean to the city, and I don't know, just kind of what the city has produced. And they've had a bunch of different guests. They just had the recent one, I think, was a Jets football player. They've had like porn star on there. They've had comedians. They've had like, if you could think about it, and Miami's produced it. They've been on there, and yeah, that was a really great experience. I was really honored to be on there, so I put that out. Also have one more, just because it's an album I've been listening to a lot, and dude, these guys do not have nearly this much recognition as they're supposed to. But there's this salsa band called it's called Havana con Cola, so Havana with Coke. So, and they only have one album, and it came out in like 2008, and it's called Vente Negra, And that album is a motherfucking masterpiece. Like, straight up, I hope these dudes have like a resurgence. Like freaking like what's it called? What's this dude? Verocai, like Arthur Verocai from Brazil, and like somebody sample them, please. Some sort of hip hop DJ, like a producer, please sample these people, because fuck, they need a resurgence. Awesome album, dope shit to check out.
Damn. I was trying to think of one the whole entire time. I was happy that people were going for a little bit.
You had time.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got this. A quick one. Honestly, I'm gonna plug what I think I would consider in some aspects a modern classic, which is kind of maybe a little bit too much high praise for this, but I'm a huge fan of J.G. Quintel's work. He's an animator, a lead. I think he owns his own team now at Cartoon Network Studios. But he did Regular Show, and then he also his new show is Close Enough. Close Enough is really good. Highly recommend that one. But if you're looking for something that has like a lot of content and like is kind of like a little left field, it gets into some very weird stuff, like sometimes even like cosmic horror type things, but at more of a normal, like not as horrific as like a huge level. It's much more like cartoon friendly, I guess. I don't even know how to put it, but it's a very interesting show. And
like Courage the Cowardly Dog type of deal.
Even less sometimes more terrifying and sometimes less terrifying. They're in that same spectrum, though. You definitely nailed the spectrum. But yeah, I think his work's really cool, and I've been enjoying a lot of it recently. So I think that's going to be my dope shit.
What's the name of the show, or is it just his collective works?
The first show is called Regular Show, and his newest show is called Close Enough. Both of those I would suggest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
those have been on my list for a while.
And Close Enough's good, dude. It's on HBO Max. I'm plugging it now. I don't get paid by them, but I honestly think people should stop subscribing to Netflix, and I think the HBO Max is literally the way to go. I'm not even shitting you.
No, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
The content is so good, and you could see so many things now. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, dude. Also, yeah, since I'm a heel now. Fuck you, listener. You got your time back. It's an hour and a half long episode before it's edited. It'll probably be longer or shorter.
Oh, God. It was long.
Yeah. So
my
exactly.
apologies.
No, you're fine, dude. You let me be my heel to the listener. So yeah, listener, I don't want to hear nothing about. We didn't get contact for all the weeks you were gone. It's there now.
That's a good point.
There you are. This is probably our longest episode. ProAceJOKER, our man John. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Hey. Love you guys. So it's good.
Oh,
being
shameless plugs, my man.
Oh yeah, shameless plug. Now that I'm making content everywhere, twitch.tv/ProAceJOKER. That's live streaming. YouTube.com/ProAceJOKER. That's YouTube videos. I'm starting to put up. As I said, I'm working on a little commentary video literally today, and Instagram.com/ProAceJOKER and Twitter. Honestly, the two ones you're going to see me the most on is going to be Twitch and Twitter. If you ever need to get a hold of me, twitter.com/ProAceJOKER. It's just the same across everything.
It is a guarantee that you
those are. I've been doing some crazy stuff. So as I said, I know I was known for Halo speedrunning, but since then I've expanded out to playing a lot of different games. I've been doing a lot of Destiny, I've gotten really back into Halo. When this episode, the day that we're filming this tomorrow, I'm actually going to be going back to trying to beat Halo completely damageless on Legendary.
Damn.
So not doing just ridiculous challenges and just stuff that's gonna make me go insane. That's kind of what the whole channel's about.
That one grunt with the two plasmas just like come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's me.
Yeah, nice. The man's not lying, though. It's easier to get a hold of him through Twitter DMs than it is through text message. This is a tried and true thing I've done multiple times in my life. I'm just saying. But yeah, thanks for listening, listener. Thanks again to John for joining us today. Hopefully we'll have him on again. And yeah, I think this is it. See you till next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Ramblations.